You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One,
Steve,
and Sid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Horse. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, he brings the awesome every week. It's I Yield to No One.
You know, I went to play Rock Band this week, and the challenge hadn't started yet.
You tried on Wednesday, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. But that's all right. I played. I got back into the groove. I'm going to play again.
And we have my trophy bitch, who constantly wants to count right on the show, but I keep beeping it out. It's Resident Daryl. Oh, Jesus Christmas. You know, I should have expected this.
What's up, nerds and dorks?
You know what's sad is I pulled my headphones off just to avoid that, and I still heard it.
I was watching you.
Impressive on the link, though.
That's what she said.
You know, as I was thinking that when he was doing it, I knew I said somebody's gonna say that fucking line.
Oh, yeah. You lobbed that in there, and I just went, boink. There it goes. It's gone.
He volleyed it up, and Yield spiked it down.
All right, so a little housekeeping before we actually get the show going. Site is still messed up. I've been on the phone every day with somebody trying to get it fixed. I call one company, they tell me it's another company. I call that company, they tell me it's another company. I call another company, like I was the original company, and nobody wants to take responsibility. I'm at the point where I'm about to hire somebody to go in and fix the code.
Do it.
But that's really expensive. Also, tricky thoughts. We're trying to get shows recorded. People keep bailing on me, including the person on this podcast currently.
God, Yield.
I know. I'm busy. I'm sorry.
So hopefully maybe after we record this show, because we're recording early, I can convince him to stick around and actually record that.
Sorry, I just bought a new game.
Yes.
Minus one.
Minus one. Well, no, really, if I was really throwing my hat in this, I'm actually minus two as it stands.
Well, you're already negative two in the standings.
I'm about to get a minus one live on the show right here, just because we're talking about.
Oh no! I'm not officially in it.
You are officially in it.
No, I'm not officially in it, but I am at minus two.
Unofficially.
Kalai, I know you hear this. Put Yield at negative two.
I second that.
Well, you want me to explain why I'm at negative two?
I want to explain why you got 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Because here's what I'm doing. I know I'm going to buy several games this year, so there's not really a point.
You're also going to beat several games this year.
Well, I will, but it's going to be a mixture of old and new. So I'm just kind of keeping tally just to see where I'm at. And then I'll compare to whoever wins to see if I actually stood a chance.
No, you know what it is? Is that he just doesn't want to commit to it. Because he wants to sit by and go, oh, you know what? I would have won. Okay, I'm in.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's why I said not officially. I'm just going to stand on the sidelines and poke at people.
Listen, I'm not in charge of the backlog beatdown, but obviously I've been requesting some rule changes, and I'm glad to see the latest one went through. Daryl, you didn't really weigh in, but what was your opinion on the latest Humble Bundle vote?
So we have a very private group for the High Council of the Backlog Beatdown, and I was outvoted. So I voted it should have been, if it's 29 games, it's 29 points against you, and that's just the cost of doing something good in the world. So
you're against it, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
I propose, since it's for charity, this one should. I actually proposed that it would be no negative, but somebody, I think it was Joseph Priestley, suggested that if you do buy the bundle, it's only a -1 total, even though you get the games. So I figured with the good of doing good in the world and donating money to a charity, we could let this one slide. But apparently, Mr. Darrell's against it.
Absolutely. So, speaking of being against it, buying games, all of this, we're talking as if the audience is completely into the backlog beatdown. And I know I've been listening to the show, and I just want to go ahead and kind of put some things out there real quick while we're talking about it.
Oh, here we go. You gonna put the beans out there?
Here we go. The Backlog Beatdown is a friendly competition between fellow gamers on various podcasts and their listeners from January 1st to December 31st to where any games purchased throughout the year of 2020 are negative points against you. And any games beaten in the game, in the year, are points for you. And then any games 100% or platinum, completed whatever, those are also an additional plus 1 point. So everyone started at 0. And then whatever games you owned, that's just ammunition you have to fire and get some points. Whatever you buy counts against you, and then whatever you get for your subscription services, your PS Nows, your Epic Game Stores, and things like that, those don't count against you. They only can possibly count for you. And so trying to keep things simple, just trying to have a fun, friendly incentive, competing against each other to see who can beat the most games and practice the most restraint by buying the least amount of games, since everyone on the various podcasts and gamers that listen to the shows, we all have a tendency of buying games that we will one day beat, but then often bury with the other games that we will one day beat.
This sounds like your life right here.
It is, dude. You should see my game room.
So, Darrell, I want to ask you questions because I know you're one of the authorities with Kalai. So, just for our listeners, because we really didn't get into the nitty gritty with Alex and Yield because they only knew about it because I was talking about it.
Yeah, sure.
So, let's get into it. Like, let's talk about the collection, like the Mega Man collection, Mega Man X collection. It comes with, I think, 4 games?
Uh-huh.
So, if somebody was to buy the Mega Man X collection, it's a -1 that can be converted into a +5 by beating all 4 games plus getting the platinum. Am I accurate in that?
No, if it's 4 games, yeah. If it's 4 games,
go ahead.
That's 4 points against you. And this also could be 4 points for you. Being that it only
5 points.
It shares one list and has 1 platinum, and then you're only can potentially get 1 additional extra point.
Now, see, I was under the impression that if it was bought this year, it didn't count at all any points. Well, it's not technically a backlog game at that point.
Oh no! As soon as you buy it, as soon as you click purchase, it is now in your backlog of games.
Okay.
So
the reason is I'm sorry, Darrell. The reason is that anything bought before January 1st of this year was your backlog. If you, the idea is to beat all the games in your backlog without buying new games. So if you buy a new game in 2020, that's a negative game. That's a negative point because you're added to your backlog. The idea of this is to beat down your backlog.
Oh, okay. But you can, in essence, lose that negative point by
just beating the game
and platinum it.
Correct. Right.
Or 100% in or whatever.
Right, and that's where we wanted to make it fair, so it's like we didn't want to give someone the opportunity to tank the system by just buying all the cheap, easy plats.
The cheap Japanese visual novels?
Oh, no.
Right.
Hold on a second. They're not cheap. They're like $50, $60 a piece.
Okay, but see, the point is, cheap is in like easy to accomplish. And that's why the platinum 100% is its own additional point, and the beating of the game is its own point, because a lot of these games you can get the platinum without beating them. So essentially, if you want to take the easy route and you want to buy a game, just for the cheap, easy 5-minute platinum or whatever, well, a lot of those games you don't actually beat them. So you take a negative for buying it, and then you bring yourself to a neutral 0 for platinuming it. Then you got to go the extra mile to beat it if you actually want it to count. Whereas games that you already own, you might have already beaten them. Like I'll give you an example. I've already beaten Wolverine on PlayStation 3. All I got to do is get 2 more trophies, and then I unlock the platinum. Well, if I go through, I have to beat the whole game again on hard, but I already beat the game. It's in my record of trophies, so that doesn't count as a +1 for me.
That makes sense.
The only thing it would count is a +1 for the platinum.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And an example what Daryl was saying is like a game like Trine 2, where you could essentially get the platinum and not beat the game. So if you bought Trine 2 this year, you get a -1. Then when you get the platinum, you get a +1, but you actually have to beat the game to get the other +1.
Correct. And the only thing we're asking for proof is screenshots of your credits rolling or your trophy stuff, you know what I'm saying? So that if anybody wanted to call shenanigans, then it's in there in the Facebook groups where you beat, or platinum the games. And I'll give you an example. I owned a game on the Vita called Grass Cutter. And it's just a little grass cutting, puzzle game. And you can actually get the platinum in the first 16 levels. So I already owned the game, so it wasn't a negative, but I got the platinum, so it was only +1. And then now if I want the additional plus, 1 point, I got to finish the last 30 plus levels on it. So, we try to make it easy, but also fair enough to where somebody couldn't take a cheap way out and tank everything.
All right, so now Daryl, I have another question for you. A game like Division or Division 2 or Destiny or those type of games, where they're games for service. Technically, no credits ever roll on the Division. So how would somebody be able to get a +2 on that?
There's a trophy in the Division's list for completing the campaign.
Yes and no, but
I'm going with Division 1, right? I got Division 2, but I haven't fired it up yet. So with Division 1, there's a trophy for completing, the campaign. So then that would be your, hey, I beat the Division, technically, the story, and then I would just post the picture of the trophy. And then at that point, if I wanted the additional point, I'd have to grind out the last trophies. I'll give you another example. I've been playing a bunch of fighting games. Fighting games typically don't have the longest story modes. So I've been just kind of knocking out some of the story modes on some of these fighting games I have. There's your +1. And then the next 500 hours would be for my, platinum if I go for it.
See, and that's where I disagree, like on the fighting games, is because I get your point of the story mode being signifying. But to me, in order to say you beat the game, because we had this question by somebody in the Backlog Beatdown the other day, they bought a game that has 6 characters. The question was, do they have to beat the game with all 6 characters to have it said as completed game? Some argued yes, some argued no. With a fighting game, somebody could arguably say, well, you didn't actually beat the game until you did the tower with every character.
Well, that's not what the trophy says. The trophy says you completed the story mode. So
yeah, I would say
story
I would
campaign.
Say you beat them with one person. Credits roll, so to speak. You've got it. That's the point. You beat the game. Yep,
and that's the thing. Roll credits, get your point. Roll the platinum, get your second point. And that's the thing that I said in the Backlog Beatdown group is, if it takes 6 endings to get your 100%, well, there's a point saying destined organized for that. If it's just 1 point for a roll in the credits on the story, whether that's 2 hours or 20 hours, well, then that's the one. And that's the thing is, a lot of people when we did the trophy war a few years back,
which you lost, by the way.
Hey man, we can't win them all.
And we still don't have our trophies.
Lost in the mail. Actually, I think GoDaddy has those. Yeah, where they're Shanghai your website, they got your trophies too.
I hate you.
But you know what I'm saying? Like with the trophy wars, a lot of people didn't want to participate in that because they didn't necessarily like to play just to get trophies. And my team specifically lost their momentum. Some of them we lost completely, like never heard from them again, because that's not how they like to play. That's not what they want to do. With the Backlog Beatdown, we all have a backlog. Even Donnie has a backlog. So
I told you all, it was a marathon, not a sprint.
There you go. And see, games that you'd necessarily want to buy but you haven't bought yet, well, they don't count against you because you haven't purchased them. And it might be a case where like I've got 10 games picked out that I want to buy this year, and then when it comes time to buy them, I might hold off because of this challenge. I'm in the middle of a few other ones that I've been trying to get to, and I might stretch it out till 2021 to buy them, which actually is not true because I just bought a game as we were speaking and added myself another negative one.
And what did you just buy?
They have the PSN has the games under $20 sale, so
Yes.
I bought Call of Cthulhu for $10.
Now let me ask this. This was something I was curious about. What if you buy a season pass or DLC?
Okay. The only way DLCs count for you or against you is if they're standalone releases, like Infamous First Light. You know, something
Because it was a standalone game and had a platinum.
Right. And then, what was that game? Wolfenstein Old Blood. You know, it was if it was a standalone release, then it's a -1 for buying it, a +1 for beating it, +1 for 100%ing or platinuming.
Okay.
Yeah, because if there's a game you own and it's going to consistently, like a games for service, as a matter of fact, they're going to consistently drop new content. You shouldn't be penalized because this game is alive and breathing. You know, but once you get your 100% or your platinum, then you get your point. Now, if it's a situation where you're playing on Xbox and you got the 100%, and then in 6 months they drop a DLC, you know, we're not going to take that 100% from you. You know,
All right, so
on the PlayStation, that stuff is separated, you know, by trophy list.
Yeah.
Whereas on the Xbox, you can have 100% in a game. They drop a new trophy list and a new achievement list, and then you lose your 100%. So,
all right, so let me ask you this. I know we're getting into the nitty gritty. I'm just trying to have this said out loud instead of people wondering. Take a game like Spider-Man. I have the platinum, but I don't have 100% of the DLC trophies. If I was to go back and get all of the DLC trophies, I do not get an extra point, correct?
Correct, because that DLC is optional. You've already got your platinum.
Okay, and last question before we actually get on with the meat of the show. Uncharted Lost Legacy. Lost Legacy? Yeah, that's
Yes, Lost Legacy.
Okay, that was a standalone DLC, but essentially that was part of the season pass for Uncharted 4. If somebody bought Uncharted 4 and got Lost Legacy, does Lost Legacy count as a -1?
Well, no, because A, they already bought that as a part of the season pass, and that wasn't in 2020, and B, it would be a standalone game. So if you wanted to beat that and then platinum it, there's your potentially 2 points. But I mean, if you buy Lost Legacy as it is right now this year, well then that's a -1 because it was released standalone.
All right, so I mean, I know we're getting into nitty gritty, but I just I want to just get this out.
Same thing for Left Behind on The Last of Us. You don't need the base game to play Left Behind. You can buy that by itself. So if you bought Left Behind today, there's your -1. But the cool thing is you could get you 2 points out of it, and it's relatively short.
Correct. All right, so let's get into the actual show. Our updated trophy count. I am level 54, total trophies of 12,764 with 230 platinums. Suck it, Daryl. Alex is level 31, total trophies of 6,924 with 102 platinums. Yield.
In 101 games.
No, we don't do that no more.
I do it when he's not here.
Yield, what are your trophies, sir?
I'm a level 28 with a trophy count of 5951 and a platinum count of 93. I have a new one.
Yes, you do. What you doing?
Medieval.
So you are actually a -1 right now. Actually, you're a negative.
No, I'm at -2. Here is why.
Okay.
So I beat Medieval. So that's one.
When did you buy it?
It was a Christmas gift.
Oh, so it was before the new year.
I was playing it before the new year. I beat it.
Okay, so that's +1.
And I platinumed it the same day. I wasn't realize I needed to take the picture of the credits, but I do believe there's a trophy that.
Yeah, there's a timestamp. You're good.
It's a timestamp.
If we wanted to challenge it, we can timestamp it.
But I beat it and platinumed it the same day. So there's 2.
That's +2.
All right, here comes the -4.
Okay.
Sony had their holiday sale.
Sales are going to kill people in this challenge.
Sales are going to kill me. I picked up Hellblade: Senua Sacrifice.
Very good.
-1. I picked up Trine 4.
That's -1.
-2. No, I'm up to -2, so now I'm even.
Well, no, okay, go ahead.
I picked up American Fugitive.
Okay.
There's -3. And then I picked up, let's see, Hellblade, American Fugitive, Trine 4. Oh, and I got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot today.
You forgot the game you bought today.
Yeah, so there's 4. The reason I was asking about DLC was I've picked up the season pass for Strange Brigade. I've already platinumed it. I did that last year, but I was waiting for the season pass to go on sale because it has a 3-part story campaign. So I picked that up, and then I also picked up the season pass for Sniper Elite 4 because we got Sniper Elite 4 for free for Plus last year, but the season pass was for sale, and I'm like, well, heck, for $9 I get the rest of the game. Okay.
There you go.
So that's why I was asking about the season passes count, and Daryl said no, that's not a -1. So that's why I'm at -4, not -6.
There you go.
All right.
And the cool thing is you'll get some points from Senua's Sacrifice. That game is really good yield.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a pretty straightforward platinum.
I've been wanting to play it, but I was just like, well, games I don't rush out and buy day one. I'm like, I'm gonna wait for the price to drop.
I will tell you, with Hellblade, you definitely want to play that game with a pair of headphones on.
Well,
yes.
I think I'm going to do both because I heard you may have to play it through twice to get the platinum. Am I correct?
If you pay attention, if you follow like a collectible guide or something,
You can do it in one shot.
I never do my first playthrough. I play the game, and if
Well,
if I find it great, if I don't, I'll just
There
go
you go.
through it again.
then you're fine. Then because that's exactly what I did. I played through it, and I actually only missed one collectible in my first playthrough. So
Now, so in the second one, did you have to get just that one, or did you have to get them all again?
you had to get them all over again.
Okay. Now, see, what I was planning on doing was my first playthrough. If my wife wanted to watch, I'd play through. Second playthrough, I'd put the headphones on to get the full immersion.
Yeah, I actually had to stop playing that game, not because it was bad or anything, just because it was creeping me out a little bit too much.
It's wild, dude.
And not like a scary weird out, just like I don't even want to like say it because it's awesome, but it's just
It gives you the heebie-jeebies?
yeah. All right. Sid is level 40, total trophies of 9,394 with 170 platinums, and Daryl gets to read his count without beeps behind it.
Finally, my count has come back to Trophy Horse. I am a level 45 with a total trophy count of 10,118 with a platinum count of
I'm okay.
He's choking up over there,
187.
Daryl.
I know, it's killing him. He's just like, I can't take it. This is so much greatness.
All right, but Daryl, you have to admit it's been kind of fun with the way that Alex and Neil have been seeking new trophies in, the way I've been taking them out.
Oh my gosh, dude. So like Kalai getting on here and reading my count, CJ doing it. I mean, like Alex editing it in at the end of the show. Like, it's been a blast, man. Like, it's been really fun to sit back and listen to this.
I have to say, I'm going to toot my own horn. The best one had to have been mine.
No, actually, the best one.
Where you read the count when it was not yours?
I read the count, and then Tricky was like,
What?
wait, what?
No, the best one was Alex putting the little commercial at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that. He put a commercial in?
Yeah, he put a
Oh,
commercial at
yes.
the beginning of the episode.
It's been really
sir.
funny. Or really, I got to give Alex credit because he's really impressed me with his cleverness. When he was talking and he's like, "Yeah, we've gotten like 184 Lego games," and it was like, what an odd.
I
what an
never
odd
caught
number.
on.
He said my entire trophy count throughout the show, but he said it like in response to questions, you know. So it was awesome, or in response to the conversation at hand.
Yeah.
So it was really good. I'm sitting there listening to the show, and I'm just like, man, that was really hard work. Sometimes it comes off like he's not paying attention.
But he's paying attention.
Oh, he was on it, man. He was on some next level stuff because he had worked in his responses to the organic conversation, and it was subliminally put my trophy count out there.
Yeah, I never caught on to that. Even when you guys were talking about it in the Facebook group, I'm going, what the hell are they talking about?
What is it? Yeah, it was awesome, dude. Honestly. And it's not just awesome because it's my account. Like, it's awesome that, like, this dumb little bit has carried on for 10 weeks now, you know? Like, even when you actually finally edited it out, like, it's still a thing that, like, you know, and then other people have gotten involved on the Facebook group. So that's the kind of stuff that just makes me laugh, dude. I love it.
All right, so let's get into what we're playing. Obviously, I've been playing more Division 2, more Rock Band 4, and I've started playing a little bit more of Jedi Fallen Order, although I have stopped because I'm confused about where the hell to go now.
Is it okay,
Well,
Tricky?
go ahead.
Are you bored with that game?
Fallen Order?
Are you bored with it? Yeah.
I don't know if bored's the right word, but I really don't. There's nothing really making me want to continue playing it.
See, I feel the exact same way. Like, I am not, like, it's not bad, you know? But it's just not,
It's missing something.
Yes, it really is. There's something, it's like just, I don't know. It's crazy because it's got elements of Uncharted in there. And it's like things that I should like. And, of course, wielding a lightsaber and smacking fools around with it. There's just something about it that's just not clicking with me. And I don't know if I'm just in the wrong headspace for that game right now or what. But
See,
geez.
here's what I think, and I'm probably maybe a quarter into the game. I'm just guessing. I like the story. I like the exploration. But for some reason the combat's throwing me off.
Yeah, all right,
It don't feel
Star
quite,
Wars.
quite as fluent. It feels a little clunky, and it might be just me.
See, my problem with the combat is, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but this is literally at the beginning of the game. When you're going to find the person that's you're supposed to find. Does that make sense?
Spoilers is Baby Yoda.
You're talking at the first temple.
Okay, yes, the first temple. There, you have to navigate your way through, and there's that one enemy, which I don't even know what the hell they're called, but it's just like I have to use 2 health packs, and I'm barely able to defeat it, and I'm playing it on easy baby mode. Like, the game should not be that hard. And then,
Well, I'll tell you what, I was playing it on Jedi Master. I think it was Jedi Master, where everything is basically 50%. All the way down. All right?
okay.
So I'm thinking, I'm an experienced gamer. I should be able to do this. Some combat, I was doing fine. Some of the tougher enemies were whooping my tail to the point, snapped my controller in half. I ended up kicking it down a level. And of course, like I said on the show, it was what I feared. You kick it down a level, now I'm mowing through fools.
Right.
Like it's Sunday brunch, you know, and it's just, ugh. But I didn't want to get so mad with the game that frustration ruined the game for me.
All right.
So I just figured to heck with it.
Okay, I'm going to put you to pause there because that's actually our topic of the week is
Okay.
hard games. Yeah, but now that I've actually gotten through the temple, I've come out. Like, I don't know I don't know if I wasn't paying attention, but I don't know where the hell to go now. Do I go back to my ship?
So at this point, you have 2 planets you can go to or stay on the planet that you're on, if I remember correctly, okay?
Yep, that's right.
If you go to the map, which should be in the ship,
Which sucks, by the way. That map sucks.
your holo map, one of the planets should have the Jedi symbol on it. That is the next story planet that you need to go to.
All right, but see that's my point. I didn't know if I had to go somewhere on that planet or I had to go back to my ship.
No, you have to go back to your ship to fly to the next planet.
10-4, that's all I need to know. All right, let's stop there because I don't want to spoil anything. And like I said, those are the games I've been playing. Yield, what have you been playing, sir?
So I fired up some Rocket League. They've got a Lucky Lanterns event starting Monday, which was 2 days ago from when you hear this. I thought it started already, so I was going to try to get me some red envelopes to get, some of the freebies, not freebie stuff, but you get what I'm saying, cosmetic stuff. Played a little bit of Jedi Fallen Order. Of course, I've played Medieval because I've beat it and platinumed it. Played some Rock Band 4.
Hey, Yield, real quick.
Yes.
How long did it take you to platinum Medieval?
See, I started it on Christmas, and I platinumed it Sunday or Monday. So 2 weeks.
So you should think about 8, 12 hours, a little bit more than that.
Probably. I mean, I wasn't as awesome as I should have been going through the game. I mean, in essence, you have to play the game about twice. In essence, a couple of bosses gave me fits, but that's because I wasn't using my head and I was just trying to hack and slash.
Gotcha.
But it really wasn't that bad, and it was enjoyable. I liked it because I hadn't played it at all. So I enjoyed it. But yeah, 8-12 hours sounds about right.
Cool deal.
And then I've also played World of Warship Legends.
Surprising. All right,
Surprising.
Daryl.
I'm gonna kind of keep my list down just because listeners are gonna hear this. If you cross pollinate with any of the other shows, you're gonna hear this 3 times this week potentially.
Yeah, there's nobody that listens to Trophy Wars that actually listens to the Poop Brothers.
Well, yeah, some of them I actually listen to Push to Plat.
Okay.
But I've been playing through for the Backlog Beatdown. I've been playing through the first Wolfenstein from 2015, the New Order, I think it's called.
Yes.
It's pretty cool, man. Ellie, I think that it maybe if I had played it in 2015, I would have loved it. Versus, I started it, but I didn't finish it. But right now, like I just want to play Doom. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to go through here and rip and tear and kill everything. And this game still wants to have like some, stealthy missions, and I don't know, like that's like the slower parts of this game. Kind of like they're not great. And maybe that's just not what I'm in the mood for. But overall, I'm enjoying myself. I've been playing some Onrush.
What do you think of that? I loved it.
God, I love that game, Yield. I freaking love that game.
There are some challenges. I call them challenges that you'll have to do throughout the quote unquote story mode, where it's I don't know
Superstar mode.
So yeah, crash 5 vehicles. That's not one of you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Some of those want to make you snap your controller because it's a little bit skill and a lot more luck, where it has to line up right to do it. So but I still love the game.
Well, so far the way I've been playing it is I was 100%ing every little section, and then now that I'm in the last 2 sections, they're not 100%. But I haven't rolled credits yet. I will roll credits soon, but I kind of don't want it to be over. Like I think I've got about 60% of the trophies. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It's Burnout, but like in like a race with EDM music, and it's very stimulating. I really enjoy it. So
I'll tell you what, that last challenge you got to do, it's
a butthole.
It's annoying, but it's so fulfilling when you line it up.
Oh, sweet. And then the last game I'll mention on the show is I'm playing through Resident Evil 4 on PS4. I haven't actually completed it on PS4. I've completed it on several other systems. So we've got like another little sub challenge going on with the Loot Bros podcast, where a handful of our listeners mentioned playing Resident Evil 4 and kind of racing to the 100%. And it's going to be, a decent challenge and probably about 30 hours worth of game. So I've just kind of been chipping through that, just having a good time, just revisiting one of my favorite games.
All right. So let's get into our topics. Unfortunately, we're going to have to start with some bad news, and we got 4 stories of bad news. First one, each one of these is a delayed game. Our first delayed game is Iron Man VR. Yield, I know you don't care about VR, but Daryl,
Nope.
What do you think? Like, are you upset about Iron Man being delayed?
Am I upset about being delayed? No, because that's longer. I got to wait before I have another -1.
Spoken like a true gamer.
That's right. No, it's cool, man. Like, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to play it. So I'm excited about it just because, VR is really cool. I can't play for long, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes max, and then I got to bounce just because I get motion sick so easy, even on the games that don't typically make people motion sick. I'm a freaking wuss. So
Have you done Beat Saber yet?
I haven't done Beat Saber, but I've done Tetris Effect. I've done some Resident Evil. I did some Arizona Sunshine, like the Job Simulator, Vacation Simulator, stuff like that.
Have you did the Star Wars one?
No, I have not. Isn't it like a lightsaber battle kind of thing?
No, this one is from the first Battlefront game. And it's a standalone. I think you can get it for free, or it's not much. Went to my buddy's house to try it. Dude, if you love Star Wars, that's slick. I mean, you're right inside an X-wing cockpit.
Oh, dude, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's slick.
Well, before I let you go, Daryl, I just want to confirm the information. We said it was delayed. It was originally supposed to come out February 28th. It's been delayed to May 15th.
Okay. Yeah, a few more months to keep my score in check. Yeah, I haven't played a ton of VR. Like that Batman Arkham was really good. But yeah, I don't care if a game's delayed. That's fine. I've got so many that it doesn't. I'm not waiting on anything. Even Resident Evil 3, which is coming out in April, like Daymare 1998, which is coming out in February. Like I'm excited about those games, but if they delayed them tomorrow, I'm like, okay, cool. That's more time for me to play the games in 2015 that I bought and then never finished.
All right, our next release, our next delay, I should say, has been delayed from its April release to September 17th. And this game is Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, doctor.
I'm okay with that because the first half of the year was crowded, especially May.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this. Because you had Cyberpunk and then 2 weeks later you had The Last of Us 2. I'm cool.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to play Cyberpunk just because it's such a big game. I might dabble with it, but like I haven't finished. I've played like 2 hours of The Witcher, so
yeah, I'm actually started playing The Witcher because I watched the Netflix series.
It's really good, man. I was talking with CJ from Push to Plat about that just last night. Like it's not the best thing I've ever seen, but it's really really good. I think that season 2 will be exceptionally well done. I think it's going to be. They found their footing by the end of this season. I
think instead of calling it the Witcher, they should just call it the Yennefer because that's mostly what it focused on.
I mean, I don't know. I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to establish her because, from what I understand, she's pretty important to The Witcher.
Yeah.
I thought that Henry Cavill was really, really good as Geralt.
Yeah, did you happen to watch the video where they that first fight scene in the first episode? They somebody remixed it and put it to Queen's. What's the name of that song?
Bohemian Rhapsody?
No. Don't Stop Me Now?
No, I hadn't seen it.
Oh, I have to send you that video. It's like the music just times perfect.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, Yield, I cut you off.
Did anybody see the Facebook post for somebody? I don't know what episode it was, but took one of the fights and put in lightsabers?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's so slick.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay, next game, which has made me a little sad, has been delayed until September 4th. And of course...
Everything's got pushed till September.
And of course, I'm talking about Crystal Dynamics' Marvel's Avengers.
Maybe they're changing all the character animations to the actors.
Yeah. It was originally supposed to come out May 15th. So because Iron Man VR has now on that date, they had to move Marvel's Avengers. Of course, I'm joking.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm actually cool with that too. I've been showing the footage to my children, and my daughter, they all seem pretty excited about it. So I'm hoping that's gonna be a good one for me to play with them. Like Destiny style, or something where we can all get on our PlayStations and play together.
That's cool. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping for some couch co-op, but something like that'd be slick.
Yep.
All right, and our final delay, which I think no surprises absolutely no one. Final Fantasy VII Remake has been delayed, but only a month. Instead of coming out March 3rd, it's now going to come out April 10th.
Well, now wait, is that the whole game or is that just the chapter?
This is just the first third of the game.
See, this
which,
is what.
which is an entire game in itself.
Yes. So yeah, those are your delays. Now, as a whole, I mean, I think everybody here on Trophy Horse, and Daryl, even you included, because as you said in the show, when a game gets delayed, obviously it sucks, but it doesn't really bother us because we know that it has to be done to make the game better. Because I don't remember who said it, but it said you can fix a bad game, but a broken game is broken forever, something like that. Whatever they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a delayed game is eventually good, but a bad game is bad forever.
Right. So, I mean, overall, obviously it sucks. I mean, I'm looking forward to Iron Man VR and Marvel's Avengers. I'm not a big Cyberpunk person, and Final Fantasy VII, I'll play it, but I'm not looking forward to it. I mean, I know.
Really?
I know Homer
You'll play
is.
that? Well, yeah. Homer's waiting for the whole thing to come out. He's not going to pick it up chapter at a time. He's waiting for the whole game to come out and then pick it up at once.
Well, he's probably going to be waiting 20 years for the whole thing to come
I was
out.
about to say, yeah. He's going to be waiting until 2050.
All right. So, our next bit of news. Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC.
I'm okay with this.
According to sources familiar with Sony plans, Horizon Zero Dawn will be coming to PC sometime in the future. Kotaku is reporting that 3 people familiar with Sony's plans that the PlayStation 4 exclusive from Guerrilla Games will be coming to the PC. This is not an official announcement, but sources spoke anonymously because they were not allowed to divulge this information. This would be the first Sony exclusive game by a first-party Sony Worldwide studio to come to PC. This is not the first Sony exclusive to come to PC, however, as Quantic Dreams games are now on the PC and Death Stranding will be coming to PC later this year. Now, I say this because I really don't have a problem with Horizon going to PC. But I bring this up in conversation because we are giving Xbox a lot of shit about their Play Anywhere initiative, where you don't have to buy an Xbox to play their games. You could, if you had a good enough PC, you could play every one of the Xbox games on your PC. Do you see Sony going that same route and saying, yes, our console games are on our console, but we're also going to put them on PC so people can play them anywhere?
I never thought about that.
I didn't think they'd ever do it, and but I guess eventually, maybe. I mean, there's got to be enough. There's got to be some money there for them to, I don't know. And part of me wants to be like a selfish snot and go, and that's mine. That's for my PlayStation. That's for my precious. Don't take it, But on the other hand, there's people who are just never ever, like my brother, for example. I bought him a PS4. He is a Xbox White Knight, like, to its faults. Like, he's like, I'm a ride or die with Xbox. I bought him a PS4. I bought him God of War. I bought him Horizon Zero Dawn. I bought him The Last of Us and the Uncharted collection. Okay? I'm like, these are some of the absolute best games you'll ever experience in your life, and you don't have to break your unholy vow with Xbox to do it. I did it for you. And,
You've converted him.
Well, he never played them. He just refused to do it. But eventually, he switched over to full PC. Like, now he's a PC nerd, and he'll play anything there. So, maybe now if Sony puts their games over there, maybe my, brother would actually get to experience good games for a change.
There you go.
I mean, okay, I'm going to let you go, then I'm going to give my opinions.
Okay. So, like I said, I don't have a problem with this. Horizon has, and this is a bad analogy, has run its course on the 4. Okay? They've made their money. They've had their DLC. They've done their game of the year. You know what? I have no problem with putting it on PC and letting them have it.
It's just more money for Sony.
It's more, it's more money for games. Sony, more money for Guerrilla.
All right. Well, I mean, for the people that are going to say, well, there's other PlayStation games, there's other PlayStation exclusives on the PC. As I stated, Quantic Dream put their games on there. Death Stranding was never owned by Sony, so therefore, Kojima Productions could put it anywhere they wanted. They had the exclusive deal. My only thing with this is I don't want to turn into the Xbox conversation of, well, why would somebody buy a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 6 or whatever they may be when they can just buy it on their PC?
Because, well, I don't know. I don't know if Sony, to cut you off, I don't know if Sony will ever do it at launch.
Day and date.
Yeah, it'll be... Horizon's been out, 2 years? Now it's coming to PC. Now, it might get a little closer. We may not wait 2 years. I think that they'll let their exclusives run their course on the console, and if it's generating enough buzz or they think there's draw on PC, they'll put it to PC. You know, let's take a more recent game. Spider-Man. Sony exclusive. Game of the Year just came out. Who's to say at the end of this year, towards the end of this year, first of next year, it shows up on PC? I would be okay with that because the game has run its course on console.
Right, but then eventually you're going to have the conversation of, why are we waiting a year? Why not just release a day and date? Like, I think this is opening Pandora's box of saying, okay, yeah, we're going to put our games on PC, but you're going to have to wait a while. Which, I mean, we deal with like the Tomb Raider exclusive. We had to wait a year to play it on PS4, even though it was out on the Xbox One.
You know, I was pissed at first about that, but then once they came out, 2 months after release, 3 months after release, and went, no, you're going to get it. You just have to wait. I was like, well, that kind of sucks, but okay, I'm cool with it.
Right, but what I'm saying, my only thing is, I think this just, maybe Pandora's box is not the right analogy. It's just a slippery slope. Like, once you open up the gate and say, yeah, we're going to put our exclusive games on the PC, then, you're always going to have people chiming in, well, why not just release it on release if you're going to do that? Why do I have to wait a year? My PC, I want to play on my PC. I don't want to buy your $400 box to play a game.
And you know what? I mean, wait a year.
You're already hearing that with PlayStation Now because of Game Pass.
Right.
Like Game Pass, with Microsoft puts all their first-party stuff on Game Pass day and date, which I personally don't like because it's like, what's the incentive to buy the game? I guess if they're making more money or they're making any money, then it's worth it to them. But as just someone who's stuck in his ways and likes to own my games, like why buy their game if you just can rent it for $10? And then have access.
Preach it, brother.
Well, numerous reports have said that game sales have actually gone up for the games that are on Game Pass.
And I hear them say that. I don't know that I believe it yet.
Yeah, because I'm the same way.
I'm buying less games. Like Gears of War 5 came out, and I own every Gears of War game. I didn't buy it. Why buy it? It's on Game Pass.
I'm with you on that.
As a matter of fact, since I got Game Pass, I haven't bought an Xbox One game, period. Full stop. And that's got nothing to do with the console or the...
No, you're being economically
right.
Economically sound.
Right. So then, and I keep hearing all these freaking podcasts talk about how great Game Pass is. Hey, I've got PS Now, and it's the same thing, but with 800 games. And sure, you have to stream the PS3 games because they don't play natively. But God, dog, 800 games for $10 a month. That's insane. And then the PS4 games and the re-released PS2 games that are on PS4, you can download all those straight to your console, And I even catch myself now on PS4 buying less games because they're on PS Now. And so, to Tricky's point, once you start opening Pandora's box, now I keep hearing all these little podcasters call for, when is Sony going to release their big titles day and date? Well, here they are dropping their big titles now for at least 4 months at a time.
Right.
They're after after the fact, but they're already kind of going into that model. And so what that tells me as somebody who is a Sony pony, a fanboy, I'm going to buy their big games. But now I'm looking at it like this. Well, if you put The Last of Us 2 day and date on PlayStation Now,
you don't have to buy it.
I don't have to buy it day one. I can wait till it's cheaper so I can have it on my shelf. And so now somebody like me who has 200 physical games and almost I think it's like I'm at 600 digital games, like now you're incentivizing me to buy less, and I'm your bread and butter, and guys like me, who buy tons and tons of games.
Right, and the old story adage, or the old adage is true, that console makers, Sony, Xbox, they don't make money on their consoles. They actually take a loss selling their consoles because they know they're going to make the money up back in software sales. If you start releasing games for free on, Game Pass or PlayStation Now or PlayStation Plus, I mean, I'm sure that Sony in their marketing and in their finances, they're making some kind of a profit. But like, as Daryl said, like, how much money are they actually making? Are they taking a loss and just satisfy us to say, okay, well, we know that if we give, The Last of Us 2 for free on PlayStation Now, well, we know that we're going to make the money back when we don't put Ghost of Tsushima on there. Like,
yeah. And just to kind of round it out, what you were saying, though, it's like you start putting all the stuff on PC, it's like now you're incentivizing people not to buy your console, and I said that whenever Microsoft was announcing all their stuff was going to PC. And then my brother, going back to him, who is a diehard, won't even play good games because they're not on Xbox. He's eventually walked away from it, and now the dude only plays on PC. And he said to me, well, I've got Game Pass. Well, I don't even need to play on my console anymore. I can play that on PC.
And he's not wrong.
Hey, I got rid of my Xbox One because I can play the games I want on my PC.
All right. So, anybody have any final thoughts before we go into our last official topic?
Yeah, PC sucks. Don't play it.
Yeah. Sony Master Race.
That's right.
Well, Sony may be the master race, but they are not a master at E3. Sony once again has announced they are not attending E3 in 2020.
Oh, wow. Look, this is my shocked face.
They have released a statement saying, quote, E3 is a signature event celebrating the video game industry and showcasing the people, brands, and innovations redefining entertainment loved by billions of people around the world. E3 2020 will be an exciting, high-energy show featuring new experiences, partners, experience spaces, activations, and programs that will be entertain new and veteran attendees alike. Exhibitor interest in our new activations is gaining the attention of the brands that view E3 as a key opportunity to connect with video game fans worldwide. I take that back. I'm sorry. That was not Sony. That was the ESA making that statement. Sony's statement says, quote, after thorough evaluation, SIE has decided not to participate in E3 2020. We have great respect for the ESA as an organization, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is on making sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to their favorite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to the PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of the PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans, end quote.
So they're going to do their own stuff and probably PAX.
And it sounds like they're not happy with the organizers of E3, and therefore they're not getting what they want or doing what they want. So like, you know what, we'll take our ball and play somewhere else.
It's almost as if when it went public.
Well, that's exactly what it is. That's what a lot of people are saying, is that Sony, Microsoft, and even Nintendo were not happy with the ESA opening E3 to the general public. It's always been an industry and media event, and now that they're opening it up to broaden the horizons of everybody, no pun intended, it seems like Sony and Nintendo have taken a step back and said, well, we don't need your venue anymore. And I was listening to Kind of Funny Games Daily, and I don't know if these numbers are accurate, but just Imran was on there talking about that, somebody like Sony pays upwards of $15 to $50 million to attend E3.
It's true, and I'll use that as a smaller scale, but I am the plant manager for a weightlifting. We built a company that builds competition weightlifting equipment, and we do trade shows. And we get these little floor spaces to set up a booth, very similar to how Sony would, but like on a smaller scale because we're not walking hundreds of people through and playing video games, you know? And it's like tens of thousands of dollars for these small little areas for you to set up. Not to mention you have to pay unions and all this other stuff to load your equipment in and thousands of dollars to ship it. It is incredibly expensive to do a trade show.
So, I mean, the argument is that Sony is better served by taking that millions of dollars and, putting PlayStation trucks across the country or going to PAX or going to a Comic-Con. They don't need... And the other argument is that we all expected Sony to officially announce the PlayStation 5 at E3 if they didn't do the industry event in February, which I still think they're doing. But why go to E3 and share the time where you could just do your own event and have your own market share and have somebody talk about your console for days, if not weeks, instead of going to E3 and you're competing for attention?
Well, yeah, especially if you go before Microsoft or, if Sony goes first and announces, let's say, Xbox hadn't shown the X, Sony comes out, hey, here's our 5, and everyone's talking about it, and then 2 hours later, Microsoft comes out and goes, hey, here's our X. You just lost some momentum.
Well, that's also going back to the years when they were announcing the Xbox One, and they came out and they were like, oh, well, we just can't flip a switch, and then 2 days later, Sony does a commercial, goes, this is how you share games, and they just hand a game to...
No, they did it on the E3 stage. It was Shuhei and Adam Boyd.
Well, no, that was a commercial. That wasn't...
No, look it up. That was on the press floor. They ate Microsoft's friggin'...
That was hilarious.
That was
I thought that was a pre-recorded bit. I didn't know they actually did that on the floor.
No, they walked out there and they said, hey, this is the PlayStation 4. It's $399, which is $100 cheaper. And you can play games, used games on it. Watch, let us demonstrate how you play used games on the PlayStation. And he pulls a freaking game out and hands it to Shuhei. And it's like, dude, that was one of the most amazing.
That was a mic drop moment.
That was like, you just got kicked in the nuts moment.
But, I mean, I still believe that Sony is going to do an industry event in February. It's probably going to be in New York City, back to where the other one was. And, yeah, I think we're going to see things. But we also, I mean, I know this is not an Xbox show, but Xbox just recently came out and said that there will be no exclusive Series X games for at least 1 to 2 years after launch.
Yep.
That hurts.
So they want you to buy their new console, but there's no games that are like launch titles specifically for the console that...
For up to 2 years after they release the console.
That hurts.
That's insane to me.
Hasn't Sony already come out and said there's going to be several exclusives in the first year? I thought I've seen that article floating around.
Well, not only that, but they showed one at the Game Awards. It was that looter slasher.
Godfall.
Godfall.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's also heavily rumored that Horizon 2 is going to be at launch.
Correct. Dude, and, I like to kind of dial it back a little bit on some of these delays. I'm not wondering if some of these delays are because these companies are also working in the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X
versions.
You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I think they're kind of working out in there, whether it's multiple SKUs or versions that play on both. But I'm not wondering if they're not these games are delayed because the new consoles are coming up.
Well, I mean, one of the rumors with Cyberpunk was that they were going to ultimately delay the game. Before they actually delayed the game, there was a rumor going around that they were going to delay it to the release of the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, and that it was actually never coming to the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. It was only ever coming to the future consoles. But CG Projekt Red came out and said, no, they're coming to current gen, and they're also going to be on the next gen. But I don't disagree with you, though, Daryl. I think some of these games... I mean, obviously, we know The Last of Us 2 is going to be remastered onto the PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the question that puts a wrinkle into what I literally just said: is we know that the Series X and the PlayStation 5 are going to be backwards compatible. They confirmed that the PlayStation 5 is going to be compatible with PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games.
That's nuts. That's awesome.
That's so
nuts.
exciting, dude.
So-
Gosh, that's one of the most exciting things I've heard in years.
So here's the question. We know we're getting The Last of Us 2 on May 29th. Is there a need to remaster it for the PlayStation 5 when we know that we are going to be able to play it because the system is going to be backwards compatible? I mean, obviously they're going to want the better graphics and shit like that. I get that. But I'm saying, is there an actual need to sell a remastered version anymore of any game?
Here you go. The remastered version might come out as in like a game of the year.
Yep.
They may not release, and I'm speculating, they may not release a physical copy of The Last of Us 2 for the PlayStation 5. And then once they have all the DLC, whatever comes out, and they do a Game of the Year edition of it, then that's probably when they'll go, hey, look, here's the PS5 version Game of the Year edition that you can get.
All
And
right.
that'll
I
be
think-
that'll
I
be the
think that's
remastered
still it.
version. Because
That's a good way of doing it.
you're looking at what? Probably a year and a half, 2 years most.
I think we're gonna see The Last of Us remastered, The Last of Us 2 Part 2 remastered within the first year. I think we're gonna see it PlayStation 5 version by November 2021.
I mean, if it was me, I would just put out, here's the PS4 version, and then like when launch time comes, here's the PS5 version, and it comes with all the like Yield said, like a Game of the Year version. Like here's the full complete version with DLC, and just have a PS5 box, because you know how it is. We're still in that age where people like me and Yield, we still buy our games physical, and all the moms and dads are out there buying games for their kids, and like they're going to need to see that PS5 box. It's not just going to be this game works for the PS5 as well. Even the Xbox One right now, like you can buy copies of like Fallout and stuff, and they'll have the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One logo on it. Just it's a new box. So
All right, so I'm gonna change it up a little bit. We're gonna do listener questions before we do our topic of the week, because I think we can actually. Our topic of the week is actually going to be a little bit of a meaty conversation. So go into the Facebook group, which I see Daryl, for the first time, you have not asked a question in there involving
Well,
spiders.
he's here. He can just ask it.
Well, he didn't know. He didn't know he was going to be here until about 10 minutes before we sat down to record. Andrew says, "Do you have any reviewers from any medium that you consistently go to for the review style? For me, it's ACG, Skill Up, Young Yay, Layman Gaming, and Upper Echelon Gaming for the reviews and commentary on the industry." Now, I did put in the Facebook chat that I was going to ask this question, because I did, but we don't want the Loot Brothers sloppy seconds, because I saw he posted this question in your Facebook group too, Daryl.
well, technically we would be recording at the same time, so in typical fashion, I would just go first.
All right, so Daryl, do you have any reviews that you consistently go to?
I mean, up until recently, I was a huge avid fan of the Game Informer show and the Game Informer podcast. And I, all the way for years, I mean, like anything Tim Turry reviewed, I would read. I'm a big fan of Dan Tack. I really like Ben Reeves. I mean, that crew, not only are they, I have very similar opinions as them, JV Gwaltney, but like I really enjoy their humor and stuff. So I would read their reviews, but I would also watch their podcast and listen to their podcasts where they would kind of rehash like a bullet point version of their reviews, and it would make me, it made me laugh. So they're really funny. As far as like a YouTuber I go to, I have one that I go to for guides, especially on shorter, games.
PS4trophies.org.
PS4trophies.org, and then iBadDriver.
What about Power PRX?
Power Picks. I've watched a few of his things. I wouldn't say I frequent Power Picks, but yeah. And typically what I'll do for those guys is I'll just go watch their their YouTube videos. If I need a walkthrough, I'll use it. But for the most part, it's kind of like I Google. I have them like I subscribe to them, so I'll just Google the game review and then or the trophy guide or whatever, and then I'll look to see what their like the total length of their YouTube videos.
Right. Yield. Anybody you particularly go to?
No. I will frequent PlayStationTrophies.org, PSN profiles for guides, but there's no specific person or group that I YouTube or go to for reviews. I mean, I read Game Informer, but there's no specific author. Somebody's got an opinion on game, I read it to see if it's something that excites me or something that I should worry about or keep an eye on. Most of my reviews is kind of a general word of mouth, either from people in our Facebook group or stuff on the internet. I'll just kind of, if everybody's kind of saying the same thing, you can kind of get excited or worried about it. If people's opinions are all over the place, then you definitely are going to form your own, because then it's wide open for interpretation.
Yeah, as far as me, I don't have any particular person when it comes to reviews. And I've never been a typical person that goes and reads reviews. I know that's ironic because I own a video game website that used to do reviews. But I've always, like, if I've looked at a review for a game, I've basically just looked on the review and then just looked to see what they scored. It went to the end. Because everybody's play style is different. Everybody's, the game's preference. Like, and this is coming up later in another question, but like Death Stranding, depending on which review you read, the game was either great or it was horrible. So the only way to know whether or not I'm going to like the game is to actually play it. So that's what I do, is I just play the game. I don't actually go and listen to somebody else's opinion and base my purchases or rents or whatever decisions off of that.
I got one that I was going to save for the Loot Bros podcast, but since I'm not going to be on it this week, I will tell you Avalanche Reviews on YouTube. He is awesome. And I don't necessarily go to him for like current stuff. He does these retrospectives, and he's a huge survival horror fan. So like he would do like full series breakdowns, like every Resident Evil game, every Silent Hill game, every Dino Crisis game, things of that nature. So like I go to typically at work, I like to put my headphones in while I'm out doing stuff, and I would like go to his channel and just listen to his reviews, for hours on end. Listen to the Parasite Eve reviews and things like that. So and as I don't necessarily care what he scored it, I more so enjoyed the fact that he would do like deep dives and informational, things on like the lore in the background, and he would do a really good job of like, hey, this game was a real big deal at its time, and so here's kind of the overall story, and then here's what I thought about it, but that part didn't interest me near as much as the wealth of information that he would give you on the the games. And it just so happened that the reason why I found him is because I was trying to hear, what did people thought about Resident Evil 2? What did people think about Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City? What did people think about, stuff like that? So Avalanche Reviews, go check him out on YouTube if you like horror games.
So the next question is also coming from Andrew. He says, is there a certain game from the past generation, anything before the PS4, Xbox One era, that has you angry, fake or jokingly angry, because it hasn't gotten a remake sequel for the current gen? For him, it's Rock and Roll Racing from the Super Nintendo. Yield?
I don't know if anything's gotten me mad that I haven't got a remake yet. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want my Siphon Filter, but I'm not upset.
Yes. Oh my gosh, dude! To this day and age, Siphon Filter. What?
I know. Can you? Air Taser.
I always love the way that Logan runs in Siphon Filter. Like just the animation to his run was just so unique. He wasn't like a 2x4 running. They had like a little bit of sway in his body. I was like, man, I really enjoy those games.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that I like. The only game that I remember from the past, and like I've said this, I think I said this on several episodes of Trophy Wars before. The only game that was ever released that I never actually played, but I always wanted to play, was on the original PlayStation 1 demo disc. It's called IQ, Intelligence Cube.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I've told the story where I actually found the game on the local store here, which I think is a ripoff. They had a used copy of the game that was all scratched to shit, and the guy wanted $140 for it.
Yep. I've heard you tell that story before.
So, but I'd like to see that game be remade, but obviously, it's such a, obscure game, and it never really got any traction that I would never see it happen. But that's the only game off the top of my head that I think that I would like a remaster, and maybe not even IQ, but something along that lines of just puzzle solving.
So, dude, I would love more than anything for the Resident Evil Outbreak files to be re-released. They came out in the PS2 generation. They were PS2 exclusives, but they had online capability back when you had to buy the network adapter to use the PS2 online, and then you had to have like a dial-up connection to plug into it. And that game was so ahead of its time. Potentially 8 people working together as survivors, random people, nothing special, trying to get out of Raccoon City. And then like you would have the NPCs kind of control characters that weren't, that you didn't have people. Because I never had anybody. I bought the network adapter and I plugged up, but I didn't have anyone to play with. I was the only person I knew with this, this setup. And man, I'm telling you now, that game is right for today. A games as a service. Just load in as a survivor, running around trying to survive in a freaking town infested with zombies. That would just be money. That'd be printing money. Printing my money, anyways.
All right, next question comes from Levi. Says, Tricky, have you finished Death Stranding yet? I want your final review before I start it. Yes, I have finished Death Stranding. And the only thing I'm going to say is if you do like the Metal Gear series, you will like this. It is a slow burn. It will take you some time to get into it. But once you figure out the mechanics and the part of the story that he's telling, your mind will be blown. And Daryl, you haven't played Death Stranding, right? I know you started it.
Yeah, I'm like 6 hours into it, something like that. I haven't played it in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So. And
Yield, you haven't even tried it.
Nope.
Nah, probably not going to try it.
So far, I really enjoy it.
I don't know. If I found it on the cheap, maybe.
All right, next question is also coming from Levi. He says, I understand Trick has reviewed The Last of Us 2. Can you share any details? Is the game mechanics and the feel the same as the original? Do you anticipate us fans will enjoy it as much as the original? Obviously, you guys know that I'm a little biased with this. I have not reviewed The Last of Us 2, but I have played a chunk of it. No, I cannot show you any details. Are the game mechanics the same? Yes. Do you anticipate us fans will enjoy it as much as the original? Again, I am biased, but I will say yes. The next question coming from Homer. What are your guys' thoughts on the recent delayed announcements as the Final Fantasy VII Remake and as well as Cyberpunk? We've already addressed that. Homer then goes on to say, what do you think the best game of release in 2020 will be? Daryl, let's go with you first.
Oh, man. I am excited for several games this year in 2020. So I'm torn between Resident Evil 3 Remake. I think Resident Evil 2 Remake was really, really good. And although I have a few qualms with things that they changed in the story, I think that they're going to take that formula, what they learned from it, and then obviously improve on it. But I am very excited about the console release of Daymare 1998. So I'm somewhere in between those two games right there over for what I will think is the best game this year.
Yield?
Well, of what's announced and what's coming out, or should I say, what's announced that I know is coming out, Last of Us 2 is going to get a lot of attention. So that's my pick right now. I know that's kind of the cheap way out, but...
All right, and for this last question, which is coming from Curtis, I am putting a video in the Skype chat, gentlemen. If you can watch it, it is only 3 minutes long. But as I'm talking, you can watch it and tell me. You can answer the question. Curtis says, "What do you think of the Joker footage for Mortal Kombat 11 and the DC skins pack? I think it looks great. Keep up the great work."
I glanced at it earlier, and I think it's awesome, and I'm going to buy Mortal Kombat X specifically to play as the Joker.
You mean Mortal Kombat 11?
That's what I meant. I have it. I have XL actually, so I don't know why I said that.
All right, Yield. I'm assuming you're watching it now. What are your thoughts?
Well, it'd have been better if they got Mark Hamill's voice.
Dude, it'd have been better if they'd have gotten anyone who was actually a familiar Joker. I don't like the like Injustice 2. I didn't like the Joker, his kind of skin, his outlook. I didn't like the Joker in I haven't completely formed my opinion yet of the new Joker skin, but I'm not loving it.
It does look better than what they originally revealed.
Even Troy Baker is a really good Joker.
So, I'm not a fan of the look. I'm actually just watching now. I'm only a minute in because I sent it to you guys, so I have another 2 minutes. So I'm not going to comment on the skins because I have not seen them yet. But looking at the combat, it looks like more Mortal Kombat, and that's good for me. I'm just not a fan of the way Joker looks, but who really cares how they look? It's how they control. So,
well, that's another thing too. Joker's always been a more complicated character to control. I think if my hope is that he'll actually be like a button mashy character, so that I actually can enjoy being him, because I am not good at fighting games. I smash buttons and get lucky.
Well, you're not good at fighting games, and neither is Frosty. So,
I mean, hey, you know what? I've actually beaten him on Injustice, so that tells you how good he is at games.
Well, I know, and that fool tries to say he's gonna kick my ass in Street Fighter.
I mean, he could, but that just means you're worse than both of us.
No, he's definitely not. All right, I'm watching the video now. Walker Joker's fatality. Well, that's a little messed up.
That's pretty cool, though.
That's kind of messed up, though.
No, that's pretty cool.
It starts as a friendship, and obviously,
yeah,
Joker's not going to be your friend.
No, that's why it's so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. I'm sorry, Daryl. You were going to say something.
No, I was going to say that was actually one of my least favorite parts about the Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe game, is that they hadn't fully committed to the ultra violent stuff yet. So like the Joker couldn't be the Joker. You know, like he would pull out his little pistol with the bang flag on the end of it, and then he would shoot it, but the camera would kind of change angles so you couldn't see what happens. So you can kind of imagine that he's real nasty, but like he just, I don't know. I think that this is finally the opportunity for us to get the Joker we deserve.
All right. And actually, there's another question here. I didn't see this. Do you feel this year will positively or negatively affect your backlog? You'll start with you.
Well, right now it ain't starting off very well. But,
you mean not starting off well, and so it's negatively affecting your backlog right now?
It's negatively affecting my backlog, but that's how it always is. I've always got a list of games that I didn't pick up day one, and that I want to pick up on the cheap. And then when they hit that price range, I go get them. So, and I've still got a handful of games I missed out on. Spider-Man Game of the Year over the holidays, and I'm still debating about getting World War Z. So
I picked that up, but I haven't played it yet.
And what about God of War, Yield?
If you grab it, Yield, I mean, we could totally jam on that one together, because that's seems really cool.
See, that's why I wanted to get it, because a buddy of mine got it, and he said, well, he's played, he's enjoyed it, and I'm like, okay, I've got somebody. Now I've got 3 people or 2 people I could run with.
And that seems like the type of game that is going to be fun by itself, but like made to play with people.
Yes,
so.
I was hoping it would have couch co-op, and it doesn't. People have gone almost the way of the dodo with couch co-op, but hey, I'll take what I can get. But I missed my opportunity over the holidays to pick that up on the cheap, so I'm eyeballing them. I check like once a week.
I think it's. I know the season pass is on the $20 sale right now. I don't know if the actual game itself is.
The game was on sale during the holiday sale for 16.
Yeah, I picked it up on Amazon for 16.
But I want to own the physical copy because my hard drive's already full, and I'm deleting games that I've already platinumed. I guess I could plug in my external for a little bit. I need to finish Red Dead 2. I need to get that platinum and get that off my system because that's like
That's a
110 gigs. So I need to get that taken care of, and then that'll free stuff up. But
All right.
I'm more physical copies, but deals like the holiday sale on some of my smaller games, I have no problem pulling the trigger.
All right, I'm stealing a question out of the Loot Brothers Facebook group.
You thief!
No, because I actually want to ask this to you guys.
Okay,
I'm here, so it's okay.
Andrew has posted in the Loot Brothers Facebook group. If you could take one feature from one platform for another, what would you take? For him, it would be taking the percentage tracking Xbox has for achievements and apply it to PlayStation. I 1,000% agree with Andrew on that.
Absolutely,
Okay,
I would take their entire approach to achievement hunting and apply it to the PlayStation because, like, for Game Pass, they do quests, like, so to incentivize you to get achievements. Like for PlayStation, if they would do for PS Now or just anything, just incentivize, you know what I'm saying, trophy hunting in any way. The trophy tracker, you know, like when the Xbox One goes down into like a we're just getting ready to go down like a power save mode, it has a screensaver pop up and it shows you rare and common achievements for different games. You know, what if you're sitting there and you let your PlayStation kind of go idle for a minute, and then it pops up and it's like, hey, Wolfenstein has this achievement that's X amount percentage rare. You know, you should go for that.
You don't know what the percentage tracking is, do you?
no, that's why I'm like, someone fill me in on this.
So think about it like this. Let's say there's a trophy for killing 10,000 enemies.
Okay,
Xbox has this system where it says you've killed 9,745 of them. So you know that you only have a little bit more to go.
And it's not built into the game; it's built into the dashboard, so you can turn it on and then have this little bar, this little box,
Yeah.
and it'll let you track up to like 5 of the most recent achievements that you're working on. And you can you can change the opacity of it too, so you can actually kind of see through the box, so it doesn't get in the way of your screen.
That is nice because there are some games where we've said that, you know, it would be nice in a way if you knew where you were at because it's not in the options anywhere.
Think about it like this, Yield. When you're playing Rock Band, there's the trophy for getting a 500 note streak on bass.
Yes.
You could turn this on, and you could actually, as you're playing the game, know how many notes you've hit in a row, and whether or not it has reset or whatnot. It will let you know as you track on the screen as you play in the game to how close you are to getting that achievement or that trophy.
Okay. That would be pretty cool.
All right, so I think we're on agreement with Andrew on that one.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. That is one of the best features for guys like us.
Okay, so let's get into our topic of the week. You kind of touched on this a little bit. I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to step away for a second, so I'm not actually going to hear you guys' answers. So, but should hard games have an easy mode? You were talking about Jedi Fallen Order before, where, you know, arguably you could say that the difficulty is too hard. A lot of people, this question has come up because of Dark Souls and Sekiro's Shadows Die Twice and Demon Souls.
Shakira?
Sekiro.
Oh. I swear that's what I heard.
Bloodborne and all those games. So, should developers put an easy mode into a game? Like, are we owed the fact that we spent money to play their game, that there should be the way we can actually complete their game? Or should developers just basically say, fuck you, this is our game. If you want to beat it, this is the difficulty.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, try to elaborate a little bit more.
Okay, so like Dark Souls. Dark Souls has the one difficulty, and that's like it was back in the day. It's hard as hell. I'm okay with that. Now, does that deter me from it? Yes, it does, because I games like that, I just am not that good. But there are gamers out there that thrive on those types of games, and you know what? That game was made for them. I'm okay with that. It's never bothered me.
I agree. It's like saying that games shouldn't be playable in only first person because I'm not good at first person games. You know, like games shouldn't be top down twin stick shooters because I'm not good at twin stick shooters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a difficulty is just another variation in the actual, like the type of games that are out there. Like, if you want to play a game harder, most games do have the option to turn it up. But there's some games that are just built from the ground up to be difficult, and that is for somebody. And not everything has to be for everybody.
Yep.
So I agree 100%. Should there be an easy mode? I mean, I'd like an easy mode because, like, I'll use Jedi Fallen Order as an example. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. And I'll be honest, I'm a little Star Wars out in general. I got the game on the cheap when Redbox was blowing out all their games because people keep stealing them. So they quit carrying games at the end of last year. I picked it up for like $24,
That's
shortly after it came out, and like, I put that game in because I was like, I'm getting a really good deal on this, and this game is not going to be like, for me to justify getting the deal when I did, I wanted to go ahead and play it while it was still fresh. And I put it in, and I'm not really digging it, so I bumped it down to, an easier mode, thinking maybe I'll just fly through the game and I'll enjoy it a little bit more, and now it's too easy and it's not, and I don't know.
It's not as enjoyable. Yeah.
I've got my own hangups with it, but like, do I think that's, I put it to you like this. I actually would say there should be no difficulties in any games. Because the first thing I do is I go check and see if there's a difficulty trophy so that I don't have to play a game more than once if I don't need to,
It depends on the game. I know what you're saying. There are some games I've cranked it up to the hard difficulty and beat my head against the wall because, you know what, I just don't really feel like I want to go through this game twice. Right. And then there's games like Uncharted. I play through it 3 times. I play through it on normal so I can enjoy it, and then I play through it on crushing or hard, and then I go through it on crushing. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, but
yeah. Well, there's games that I enjoy. That's fine, but for me, I'm a rare breed because I just assume go buy the game on another platform if it's available, opposed to playing it again unless I have to. But like, I love it when a game just has one difficulty and it just is what it is,
like it was when we were kids.
Right, and most of the time nowadays that those difficulties scale. As you get towards the end of the game gets a little bit tougher.
And and I'm okay with those type of games too, where the first few levels they gauge your ability, so to speak.
Right.
And then they curb the difficulty. Oh, okay, well you're mowing through these 2 stages, so here, this is your difficulty.
Well,
I like that too.
It's funny you brought that up, Yield, because actually the motivation for this topic was right before we sat down to record. I was watching a video, and I'm going to see if I can find it on YouTube, and I'll try to put it into the description for the show. But it was talking about how certain games change the difficulty in the game without you even knowing. And one of the examples was Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where it's like, should a developer put the easy mode in the game? But in a lot of games, without you even knowing, they have nerfed it to help you beat it.
Or they've spiked it, because then there's times where you guys have all played games where there's these unnecessary difficulty spikes where it goes from
yeah,
I'm doing great to, oh my gosh, I can't freaking move right. Like Control was like that. Control is one of my favorite games I've played in years. But man, there were certain levels where the difficulty would spike out of nowhere. Like I'm not even doing anything special. I'm just walking down the hall, and all of a sudden the enemies are killing me instantly.
I just found the video in my history. I'll put the link in the summary, but the video is called Game theory, hard mode is a lie. Shakiro, easy mode controversy, and it's from the Game Theorist. It's an 18-minute video, so, I mean, that's why I didn't send it to you guys beforehand, because you guys wouldn't have had time to watch it all the way through. But, like, see, I'm of two minds with this, because of the fact that if I paid $60 to play a game, I have some expectation that I should be able to complete your game. But the other side of my mind is going, well, that's not what I paid $60 for, is to beat a game. I paid $60 to play the game. And this is what the developer wanted me to play. This is the experience they wanted me to have. Who am I to bitch about that?
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's kind of
like-
where I'm at.
You could look at it like this too. It's like I paid $60 to play a game, but that game's got spiders in it. So like, should you then have the right to say you can't put spiders in a game so that I can play it?
Well, I don't know if I told the story. Remember, you ever play Moss with PlayStation VR?
I have.
I actually sent the developer a message on Twitter. I said, I'm buying your game day one. Can you confirm whether or not there's spiders in the game? And they responded and says, there's no spiders in the game currently.
Oh, that's funny.
And this is after the game went gold. And obviously, I played all the way through Moss, and there was no spiders in the game. But that, like you say that, but that's actually a deterrent for me. If I know there's a
Right.
spider in the game, I'm not going to buy it because I know I'm not going to play it.
Oh, so Daryl,
Yeah.
he's talking about spiders. So this got me. I wanted to ask somebody. He
are-
thinks Alex and I are jerks.
Oh, okay. Well, for the listeners, well, actually, no, it doesn't matter because the show will be out by. I haven't edited that show yet, so Daryl
Okay.
has no idea.
So
Oh, well,
I knew.
Yield, hold on a second.
Jet-
Before you ask this, because I'm going to let you ask this. Daryl, I want you, when you answer this, to be sane, Daryl, and not like over the top. Let's bust Tricky's balls, Daryl.
I got you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can do that.
I want a legit answer, a friend answer. So, have you gotten to the part of Jedi Fallen Order on Kashyyyk,
I think Kashyyyk is not the first planet.
the second planet, the second story planet with the spiders?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe I have.
So I got to that point. I remember seeing a video, so I knew that the hints told me it was coming. So anyway, it happens, and I know Tricky had bought the game, so I wasn't going to tell him. I know how he is. I know how he is with spiders.
Yeah.
So Alex and I were. He saying Alex and I are jerks because we didn't warn him. I said the group of friends that I run around with. It's yes, we know you're deathly afraid of that, but it's also freaking hilarious
Absolutely.
when it happens. So are we jerks for not telling him and letting this happen, or should we have warned our good friend, hey, you're going to get the shit scared out of you?
I mean, from my personal perspective, no, that's exactly what I would have done.
Thank you.
But
When you say that's what you would have done, you would not have warned me.
I would have, God no, I would have encouraged you to play the game. I would have sold the game like it was
The greatest
like,
thing since
oh.
Last of Us.
tricky, man. When you get past that first planet, dude, this game really opens up, and like it's gonna go from like boring to amazing.
And Kashyyyk is the second planet you need to go to.
Yeah, like you need to stop what you're doing right now and go play this game, and then come back and tell me what you think. Like, and that's what I would have done.
All right. So for the record, I'm not saying that Alex and Yield are jerks because they did not warn me.
Oh, they are, but that's it's got nothing to do with spiders.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
What-
yeah, exactly.
The point of contention, and you will hear this on when I release episode 417, is I was trying to explain to them because they don't have any deep fears of anything.
No.
And I'm trying to explain to them. Alex's argument was like, well, it's a digital spider or it's a plastic spider or whatever it may be. And I'm trying to explain to him, it's not that it's a plastic or a digital spider. It's the shock. It's that momentary shock to your system that gets me. And I tried to explain to them that it's similar to like when you're driving down the street and a car next to you hits a puddle and it splashes water onto your windshield. It's that split second where you duck because you forget that there's a windshield in front of you, and you're ducking because you don't want to get wet. And that's what I'm trying to explain to them. And they're telling me, well, no, I don't duck. I don't get scared like that. I tried to argue with them. They're saying, if you don't have a deep fear or something, you don't know what that's like. Is that, yeah, you throw a rubber spider at me. The initial thing is, oh my God, there's a spider. But then seconds later, your brain slows down and goes, okay, it's not real. But that initial shock and fear, they just don't understand.
Right.
You are, I ain't gonna lie, you are correct.
So I got an example for you, because you were asking me to respond from like being normal, not in character. Okay.
Right.
So to kind of further back up my position and how I am, my youngest son has never seen the movie It. Right. He has no clue who Pennywise is. But one of the cul-de-sac kids here in our neighborhood told him about who Pennywise was, and now he's terrified to sleep in his own room because he thinks Pennywise is in the vents in his room. Okay? So as any good dad would do for the betterment of his child,
you dress up like Pennywise.
No, even better. For his birthday earlier this week, I bought him a Pennywise action figure and wrapped it up and put it in a gift. So when he opened it up, thinking he was getting like a new Spider-Man, a new Ninja Turtle, he opened it up, he goes, I don't want this. This is Pennywise. There's a video on my Facebook. Like, my wife tagged me in it. It's funny. His face was crazy. But you know what? He didn't freak out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he saw it. He was like, what?
Yeah, but he doesn't have like a real fear of Pennywise. He just has the fear of the thought of Pennywise. I have a real fear of spiders.
Well, he might have had a real fear, but had I not continued to introduce him to the thing that he thinks he's scared of. What I'm getting at, Tricky, is you just need some spiders in your life, bro.
Yeah, okay. That ain't happening. All right, so let's go.
Hey, I used to be allergic to cats. But you know what? My daughter rescued 2 cats. They're living in our garage. Constant exposure has really helped my allergies. I had to take a risk. I could either continue to expose myself to these things and die, or continue to expose myself to these things and overcome it. And guess what I did? I overcame it.
I just don't think that if you don't have a real fear of something, like asking somebody who has a fear of heights, which I also am afraid of, to go stand on a high wire between 2 buildings, like, they're not going to do that. Because that's not overcoming a fear. That's facing certain death.
Sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah, you're a dick.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, that I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't love heights, but, that's what I had to do.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, if you were petrified of heights, like, okay, I just thought of this, and maybe this is a bad analogy, maybe it's a good analogy. But let's say you're afraid of heights, and I blindfolded you, put you in a plane, and somehow got you 10,000 feet in the air without you knowing that you're in a helicopter.
Uh-huh.
Somebody throwing a spider at me is the equivalent of me taking the blindfold off and kicking you out kicking you out the door of the airplane with a parachute.
You liken seeing a spider to kidnapping me and obviously drugging me?
Well, I don't know if that would be the same, because the spider thing, you have equated it to that once your mind realizes that it's not a real spider, then you can, okay, whew,
well,
deep breath.
no. See, now you're simplifying it again, because now you're going back to it's a toy spider. What if, like, right now, as I'm recording, a spider started coming down the wall?
Oh, you'd freak the flip out.
Right, which is the same.
That's happened. That's happened before.
Which is the same thing that if you were afraid of heights, I just kicked you out the door of a plane while we're 10,000 feet in the air. You're not just going to go, oh, okay, I got a parachute. I'll be okay. Tricky's going to come behind me, and he's going to, hook up to me, and we'll be okay. you're gonna be scared
Whoa.
shitless going down. And that's what it's like when a spider is there. Like, your brain equates that, okay, it's fake, it's a digital spider, whatnot, but it's that initial shock that gets you. And yes, it's funny. I think everybody saw the Facebook video, my mother buying me the spider for Christmas and had me open it up and had me center stage. Like, I still have the video somewhere. Yes, it's funny, but that video also shows that in that moment, I was petrified enough that I almost chucked the box into my daughter's forehead.
Yeah, and now she's scared of boxes. So thanks, Tricky.
All right, let's close out the show with some house.
Oh, let's clean this shit up.
We want to appreciate you listening to this podcast. If you would go and listen to the other PG podcasts, game stuff, and PG spoilers if Daryl ever decides to do another episode.
Hashtag I need a co-host.
All the podcasts can be found on Apple Podcasts, not currently. Stitcher, not currently. Your various podcast applications on your smart devices, some of them. Google Play, not really. Pandora, not really. TuneIn, and iHeartRadio, and Spotify, also not really. As I said earlier in the show, I'm working on it. When the problem gets fixed, all these shows will hit all these services.
Castbox works and Podbean.
Does it actually work on Podbean?
I don't know, dude. I haven't tried it in so long. I just threw that out there.
Okay, because I know you love your Podbean. Yeah, a fix is in the works. I gotta forget it fixed. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Punt and play defense, man.
If you want to get a hold of us, there's several ways to get a hold of us. Daryl, what's the phone number?
Oh, gosh. 330 proven 9. Is that right? 330-776-8369. Is that right?
Very good.
All right.
That was completely off of memory just from listening to the show. I did not look at it.
I know, because I'm looking at the reason I threw that to you is because I noticed you're not in the doc no more.
Dang. Skills right there, baby.
Yeah, you know how long it takes you to remember that?
It's instant. It's ingrained in his DNA.
Yeah.
You can get a hold of us on Twitter. Contact the show at TrophyWest. Contact the site at Proven Gamer. Contact me at Tricky Mick. Contact Yield at I Yield to No One. Contact Alex at Saunders Rex. And contact Daryl at Resident Daryl.
Not on Twitter. I mean, I'll do all my stuff through Facebook and the podcast group. So
Okay. Catch me streaming on twitch.tv/Proven Gamer. You can also catch me streaming Sundays at 3 o'clock Eastern. 3 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Extra Life for Kids. The number 4, not the FOR. Yeah, PlayStation 4 communities. There's one for the site, Proven Gamer. There's one for the show called T-Dubs Brothel, which I'm trying. I'm going to try Yield after the show to change the name, and if it works, Shuhei can go F himself.
oh, poor shoe.
Yeah. Everybody likes a little shoe.
Shehu?
Yeah.
Shuhei.
Oh, you don't remember the episode where Yield said Shehu?
Oh, I do.
You butchered it for a long time.
And Yield, we're halfway through January. What'd you your Platinum Guild shoutouts?
I forgot this.
Next week?
Sure, next week.
All right,
I should probably do them since we're recording on Friday. I should probably do them tomorrow or
Right.
Sunday, and then just put them in the
Yeah, and post.
You can do that
put
too.
them in and put them in there, and then you can add it to next week's show.
Well,
It's like I won't guarantee it'll make this show, so I can't say listen to the end of it.
if you get it to me by Tuesday, it will be on the show.
Okay, so there might be the end of 2019 guild shoutouts at the end of the show, possibly.
All right.
Just stay tuned.
And our sponsors. Our first sponsor is our Patreon. Patreon.com/Proven Gamer. No matter what tier you decide to support us at, know that it greatly appreciates. And also know that with the new show, Tricky Thoughts, which I'm hopefully recording with Daryl after the show, the first episode, that is going to be behind a paywall. There's going to be a price amount. I don't know the price yet. I'm trying to find out a fair price because I honestly want to say $10, but I think $10 might be too much. And I also want to say $5, but I think $5 is a little too low. So maybe $7.50. I don't know. I'm taking that out of the show because I don't want to advertise that. Our first sponsor, Patreon. Patreon.com/Proven Gamer. know whatever tier you decide to support us at, know that it greatly appreciates, and also know that it is the only way that you're going to be able to get the new podcast, Tricky Thoughts, that Daryl is going to be on the first episode, if I can ever sit him down in a chair and have the conversation with him. Daryl.
One day it will happen. One day.
How about in about 10 minutes when we get done with this one?
I don't want you to have to edit out any more of this show. So one day it will be there.
Yield, tell us about Extra Life.
Extra Life is a gaming charity event that lasts 24 hours, normally done the first weekend of May, so really technically it's 25 hours because they do it on the end of daylight savings. So what you do is you go to extra-life.org. You can create a team. You can play solo. You can join our team. Proven Gamer has a team. We'd love to have you. And what you do is you go and you collect monies from family members, friends, co-workers, strangers, anybody. And you collect money to play video games or board games, whatever, for 25 hours. And 100% of the monies that you collect goes to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital of your choosing. So your whole team doesn't have to play for the same hospital. You all choose whatever hospital you'd like. And it's a win-win.
Holy crap. I'm sorry. I was going to check Extra Life, see if find a total. And apparently Extra Life tweeted out that today is Betty White's birthday.
Oh, snap.
How old do you think Betty White is?
98.
92.
98 years old.
Plus 6.
I remember the time, like, you guys ever watch the show How I Met Your Mother?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was the episode where where the glass cracks, like, you're friends with somebody and all of a sudden, like, the glass cracks and you start realizing the very annoying talent they have. You guys remember that episode?
No.
No.
Okay. Anyway, I always thought Betty White was this very innocent, like, entertainer, nice civil woman, until I watched the movie Lake Placid, and she came out with that line. I've never looked at Betty White the same way again. You guys remember the line?
No.
All right, Daryl, I know you're a good Christian boy, so you might want to cover your ears for this. Lake Placid was about a giant alligator that was eating things. And they earlier in the movie, they interviewed Betty White, and she was like this nice, innocent woman, you know, and her husband went missing. As they were investigating, they found Betty White on the side of the lake feeding, cows to the giant alligator. And the cops come over and they question her, as they would. And one of the cops says to Betty White, he goes, "Are you sure you didn't feed your husband to the alligator?" And Betty White, with a straight face, looks at the cop and goes, "This is where if I had a dick, I'd tell you to suck it."
Yes.
That's the glass cracking moment. I was like, what? Anyway, getting back to the show. Daryl, tell us about Amazon.
If you go to provengamer.com, you click on the Amazon links and continue your shopping as per usual. Amazon kicks a little back to the site and it doesn't add or cost anything to you, the customer. And apparently you guys aren't using it enough because we can't get our site fixed to get our feeds out to get the podcast posted correctly.
Also, thank you to our Patreon producers, Felicia, Steph, and CJ. Let's close out the show with some shout-outs. Daryl, your shout-out, sir.
Speaking of CJ, I want to give a shout-out to my boy from Down Under. CJ, we just recorded the latest episode of Push to Plat. It is always a good time talking with him. That is a very special dude. I really enjoy our conversations, and he's doing some good work. He's doing God's work over there on Push to Plat. I want to give a shout out to the Loot Bros podcast, the greatest video game podcast on all the internets that has a completely working, fully functional feed.
Shots fired! He's got you there. I can't defend us.
That was a hell of a shot fired right there.
And then I want to give a shout out to you guys. I'm glad we were able to make this work and hang out tonight. Normally, like I said, Friday nights are the night to record podcasts. This is the same week every year where my wife and two of my children have their birthdays, and my wife doesn't work, so we can kind of celebrate with the kids. Well, she got called into work multiple times this week, and she worked 16 hours last night, and then only got to sleep 2 today. So she was a tired young lady, and so she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go lay down so that tomorrow, when we're doing all the festivities and having all the little kids sleeping over and stuff, she's like, I'm not a grump. I was like, cool. Then I'm gonna hang out with my friends, play video games, and talk about video games.
All right. Anything else you want to shout out?
No, I think that's it.
Yield.
So I will give a shout out to Alex, who is some super jelly beans right now. He's going through the Star Wars thing at Disney, and I'm super jealous. So a shout out to him. A shout out to Tricky for actually not getting called into work from the White Death that's descending upon him.
That's tomorrow night.
Well, see, the storm just missed us, so we're going to get some freezing rain tonight, and then it's going to rain tomorrow. So it finally actually got seasonably cold here in Ohio, instead of being like 50s like most of December and January.
Dude, it was 77 here yesterday.
It's been warm up here.
It was 62 here yesterday. Now it's going to snow tomorrow.
Yeah. A shout out to Daryl for showing up and recording tonight. Shout out to you, every pimpin' madam out in Horton. Thank you. Downloading, listening, interacting with us. And a shout out to everybody in the Backlog Beatdown. It's God bless you if you don't buy video games. I'm buying video games. I'm putting it out there right now. I'm buying games, but I will work through my backlog because my brother had more platinums than me last year, and I can't have that this year.
Yeah, you gotta step up your game.
I gotta step up my game. I admitted World of Warships was taking way too much of my time, but man, he had 5 platinums and I only had 3. So my game's getting stepped up this year.
Yeah, Daryl, where's your recap?
Dude, I looked at it and I forgot to post it. I don't remember. It was not near as impressive as the year before.
Definitely not as impressive as mine.
We don't
True,
count
I mean,
yours.
What do you mean you don't care about mine?
On my list, though.
Yeah, we don't care about yours. You chump yours. We only care about the legit ones.
111 platinums in a
see?
year, buddy.
You chumped it. I don't want to hear it.
And that's with playing over 1,000 hours in the Division 2.
And it doesn't matter though because you can't read any of the titles.
I can read a couple of them.
He's got 111 platinums last year, and 105 of them he doesn't even know what he played.
He's got 111 platinums and only one of them he can read, and that's the Division.
I find it funny though because my top 3 games are Division 2, Division, and Rock Band 4. I put 251 hours in to the Division, and I have not played it since Division 2 came out, and that was March 15th of last year. So between January 1st and March 12th, I played 251 hours of the Division.
Oh, I believe it. Every time I turn my system on, you're on the Division. Same thing now. I turn my system on. What's Tricky playing? Division 2.
Hey, I do want to give, I guess, to kind of piggyback with a tiny bit of shout-out DLC with the Backlog Beatdown. There's already 19 participants, not counting Yield, who's on the sidelines, but who I'm calling it. He'll be in it before you know it.
Yeah, I'll get dragged in. I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably get dragged in.
You're already dragged in. I don't know why.
No, I'm not.
I don't know why you're fighting it.
I'm still on the sideline.
You're not on the side. You are so far into it that Kalai put his totals in there. He's in. I'm throwing him in. He can't.
There you go.
He can't bitch out anymore. Yeah, and shout outs to Sweet Mama D. Shout out to the goddess who is currently hiding in the bedroom because I told her to keep down in the studio. So now she goes and hides herself because she doesn't want me yelling at her. But I love her. And shout out to the listeners. So until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Holla, holla, holla.
Bye.
Save your last words, then read on me this. Save your last words. Save your last words, then read on me this. Save
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.